If you were successful in Britain during the 1970s, people often knew before you even stepped out of your car. Back then, your motor said a great deal about who you were. A company director wasn't likely to arrive at the office in a basic family. Runabout factory owner wasn't usually driving the same car as his apprentices, and if you'd built a successful business, chances were you'd eventually reward yourself with something a bit special. Now, this wasn't the era of flashy supercars parked outside every office. Britain's business elite generally preferred something more understated, something comfortable, something respectable car that quietly told the world you'd done rather well for yourself. These motors weren't just transport, they were status symbols, rolling business cards, and, for many ambitious young men working their way up the ladder, they represented success itself. So tonight, let's take a proper trip back and look at the cars Britain's business elite drove in the 1970s, and chances are you'll remember seeing quite a few of them parked outside offices, golf clubs, and smart suburban homes. Number 1. The Rover SD1. If there was one car that perfectly captured executive Britain in the late 1970s, it was the Rover SD1 when it arrived in 1976. It looked like the future, low, wide, sleek, completely different from the traditional executive cars that had come before. For business leaders, that modern image mattered. The SD1 suggested progress, success, ambition, and if you were fortunate enough to own a V8 version, all the better. The sound alone turned heads. Many executives loved the idea of driving something distinctly British while still enjoying serious performance. Mind you, owners often had a few stories about reliability. But when an SD1 was running properly, it felt every bit the executive car Britain wanted. Number 2. The Jaguar XJ6. Now this was the car many businessmen aspired to own. The Jaguar XJ6 combined luxury, performance, and prestige better than almost anything else on British roads. Even today, it looks elegant. Back in the 1970s, it looked magnificent. The long bonnet, the chrome detailing, the beautifully crafted interior, everything about it felt expensive. Company directors loved them. Successful solicitors loved them. And many business owners viewed the XJ6 as the ultimate reward for years of hard work. A proper gentleman's motor. Number 3. The Ford Granada Ghia. Ford Granada was hugely popular throughout the decade. But if you really wanted to show you'd arrived, you chose the Ghia model. This wasn't just a family car. This was executive motoring, comfortable seats, extra trim, a smooth ride, and plenty of road presence. The Granada became a favorite among sales directors, regional managers, and company executives. It offered luxury without appearing overly extravagant. And that's exactly what many British businessmen wanted. A car that looked successful but still sensible. Number 4. The Daimler Sovereign. For those who wanted Jaguar luxury with a slightly more exclusive image, there was the Daimler Sovereign, elegant, refined, and wonderfully comfortable. The Sovereign appealed to business owners who preferred quiet prestige. It wasn't a flashy choice. In fact, many people barely noticed the difference between a Daimler and a Jaguar. But owners knew, and that subtle exclusivity appealed enormously, especially among successful professionals. Number 5. The Rover P6. The Rover P6 earned enormous respect during the 1970s. It had already established itself as one of Britain's finest executive cars, solidly built, comfortable, and packed with engineering innovations. Many business leaders appreciated its sensible image. The P6 wasn't trying to impress anyone, it simply radiated competence. The sort of car driven by people who valued quality over fashion, and, because of that, it became a favorite among accountants, engineers, and company directors alike. Number 6. The Triumph 2500. Now here's a car that doesn't always get the attention it deserves. The Triumph 2500 offered executive comfort without the cost of a Jaguar or Rover. Stylish, spacious, and refined enough for long business journeys, it became particularly popular among middle managers and smaller business owners, people who wanted something respectable without stretching the budget too far, and in many ways, it perfectly reflected Britain's growing professional class during the decade. Number 7. The Mercedes-Benz W116. Now we're stepping slightly outside Britain, but by the late 1970s, successful British businessmen were increasingly looking abroad, and few imported cars impressed quite like the Mercedes-Benz W116. W116, it had a reputation for quality that British manufacturers sometimes struggled to match. The doors closed with a reassuring thud. Engineering felt solid, and the car projected quiet authority. Owning a Mercedes wasn't common, which made it even more desirable. If you saw one parked outside a city office in 1978, where its owner was doing exceptionally well. Number 8. The Jaguar XJ12. For some businessmen, the standard XJ6 simply wasn't enough. They wanted the very best. And that's where the Jaguar XJ12 came in. Powered by a smooth V12 engine, it became one of the fastest luxury saloons in the world. Imagine that, for a moment. A large executive car capable of extraordinary performance. Yet it delivered that speed with complete composure, no fuss, no drama, just effortless progress. For Britain's wealthiest business leaders, the XJ12 represented success at the highest level. Number 9. The Bentley T-Series. Now we're entering truly elite territory. The Bentley T-Series wasn't a car you bought casually. It was a serious investment. But for successful company owners and industrialists, it represented everything they had worked towards: luxury, craftsmanship, prestige. The interior felt more like a private club than a car, and every detail reflected traditional British excellence. That the T-Series wasn't flashy, but it didn't need to be. Everyone knew exactly what it represented. Number 10. The Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. And if you really wanted to make a statement in the 1970s, there was one name above all others: that the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. Silver Shadow, this was the car of chairmen, industrial magnates, and business leaders at the very top of the ladder. The Silver Shadow offered remarkable comfort and prestige. Every journey felt special. Every arrival felt important, and, while relatively few people could afford one, almost everyone admired them. For many ambitious workers, seeing a Silver Shadow parked outside a company headquarters represented the ultimate symbol of success. Looking back now, it's fascinating how different executive motoring felt in the 1970s. Today, many wealthy professionals drive large SUVs. Others choose high-performance, luxury cars packed with technology. But in the 1970s, success often looked rather different. It looked like polished wood, dashboards, deeply cushioned seats, chrome trim gleaming in the sunlight, and cars designed to cruise effortlessly across Britain's growing motorway network. These vehicles reflected an era when business travel was changing. Companies were expanding. Executives were traveling further, and the car became an increasingly important part of professional life. Yet, despite their prestige, many of these motors still felt wonderfully British. They weren't about showing off. They were about quiet confidence. The sort of confidence that comes from knowing you've earned your success, and perhaps that's why they remain so admired today, because they remind us of a time when luxury felt elegant rather than excessive. When status came from craftsmanship rather than gadgets. And when arriving in the right car could say everything without saying a word. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these executive cars do you remember seeing most often in the 1970s? Was there a local businessman in your town who drove one? Or is there another luxury motor from the decade that should have made the list? Go on, let me know in the comments. I always enjoy reading your memories, and there are usually some brilliant stories whenever these classic executive cars are discussed. And if this video brought back a few memories from the old days, give it a like. It helps keep Britain's motoring history alive and allows more people to enjoy these journeys down memory lane. And if you enjoy classic cars, forgotten stories, and nostalgic looks back at Britain's past, don't forget to subscribe. There's plenty more still to come, because before luxury SUVs became the symbol of success, these were the cars parked outside Britain's boardrooms, the cars admired in company car parks. The cars that told the world you'd made it.